Diego won the toss. They defer. Kansas City will receive. Quinton Depps, 5-year man out of UTEP, who will also be starting in the secondary today, is back deep. The kick from Novak. And they will bring it out to the 20-yard line. And this is Chase Daniel, 5-year man out of Missouri, making his very first NFL start. What are you looking for here at the start?
Well, you know what? You want to get him off to a good start, right, Marv? I think that's important. He's making the most of his first ever start. You see Alex Smith, he's not going to play today. Had a chance to sit down with Andy Reid last night. He kind of went through the first 15 with us, and so he talked about starting the game with 96 or 97 slant away from the motion. See if they run it.
Wait a second. Did you get the plays?
Sure I did.
The handoff to Niall Davis, rookie out of Arkansas, who's had some fumble problems. Picked up 3 as we look at the Chiefs offensively, with Andy Reid going with only 2 of his starters. So rookie center Eric Kush makes his first NFL start. And the rookie Niall Davis, the feature back with Pro Bowler Jamal Charles, and inactive, will not play. There's Jamal. What a year he has had. 2nd down and 7. Just underway here in San Diego. Davis in the backfield. Again, takes the handoff. Big hole on the right. Finds some more running room. Has the first down across the 35. He's stopped by Sharice Wright. San Diego defensively up front. Corey Legion with 4.5 sacks. The linebackers, Donald Butler leading his group in total tackles. And in the secondary, free safety Eric Weddle making the Pro Bowl for the 2nd time. Kansas City coaches say that Weddle has that Troy Polamalu effect. You never know where you'll find him. Davis just went for 12. He remains in the backfield, and the first pass thrown by Daniels nearly picked off. Donald Butler had a shot at it. Chase Daniel has appeared briefly in 2 games this season. He spent 4 years at New Orleans as a backup.
Yeah, really fortunate there. They bring the corner. Gilchrist off the slot, and quarterback never feels. Linebacker Donald Butler, that could have been a pick 6 to start the game.
Daniel signed as a free agent from the Saints. Saw limited action as the backup to Drew Brees. 2nd down and 10. Lined up in the eye. Daniel with time, and he fires deep downfield. The catch is made inside the 20-yard line by A.J. Jenkins. Only a 6th catch of the season. He is starting instead of Donnie Avery.
And this is what you want, play action. And Chase Daniel, talk about getting the quarterback off to a good start. Not short, not underneath, but piping the ball down the field. You look at the receiver ISO, great separation from A.J. Jenkins. He gets behind the corner and the safety.
That's a 48-yard pass play. Chase Daniel on the season, 4 of 8 for 48 yards. Making his first start since his college days 8 years ago. And the handoff to Davis, big hole, and he's in. Touchdown, Kansas City.
17 yards.
Picked up 17 on that touchdown run, and Andy Reid is saying, I told you these guys can play.
Well, here's what you need to keep in mind, and these guys have fresh legs, and they are very motivated. It's their chance to shine, their chance to get a start. 10 Chiefs today making their first ever start, and these are, a lot of these players, Marv, have played this year. They have reps in the system, but they're very anxious to play well.
They go 5 plays, 80 yards in 1:57. This is Ryan Succop on for the extra point. Make it 7-0 for the Chiefs, who started the season at 9-0. Since then, they've dropped 4 of their last 6 and open up on fire. Look at the rookie out of Arkansas, Niall Davis, who got things going with some hard running, and it concluded with the touchdown pass from Chase Daniel to A.J. Jenkins. In his 2nd season out of Illinois, originally a first-round pick of the San Francisco 49ers. This is Ronnie Brown on the return. Makes his way across the 20-yard line. He goes for 21, and here comes Philip Rivers, who Friday night, it was announced, made his 5th Pro Bowl. What a year he's had.
Really, and it's as good as he's felt physically this late in the season. When we sat down with him on Friday, he hasn't been hit as much, but you look at how dependable he has been. 6 straight seasons where he's thrown for at least 4,000 yards and 25 touchdowns.
San Diego starting across their 20, and Rivers in the gun. Running back Ryan Matthews flanked wide right side, and the pass is caught by Antonio Gates. Goes for 6. Look at the Chargers offensively. The rookie right tackle, first-round draft pick T.J. Fluker has been outstanding. Backs and receivers, rookie out of Cal, Keenan Allen, 66 receptions among the top candidates for Rookie of the Year honors. Now Matthews slides into the backfield. Question mark all week because of a sprained ankle. And the inside handoff taken outside by Matthews with running room. Down to the 40. And bumped out of bounds. Ron Parker able to get to Ryan Matthews, who has had a spectacular season.
He has really come on here for the Chargers. And again, we watched him at practice on Friday. He was kind of gimpy with that ankle. No sign of it there. Great explosion once he got up on the second level.
A 44-yard run by Matthews. Kendrick Lewis, the free safety, missed the tackle. Matthews has come in with over 1,100 yards on the ground. First down for San Diego. Matthews remaining in the backfield, takes the handoff, a big hole on the right. And he's taken down by Nico Johnson, a 4-yard pickup for Matthews. And a look at Kansas City defensively, all backups, including Jarrell Poe for the Pro Bowl nose tackle Dontario Poe. Desmond Moses for the Pro Bowler Tamba Hali, who was inactive, and in the secondary, Hussein Abdullah starting for Pro Bowl strong safety Eric Berry. Although Berry is expected to play, he is active today. Again, it's Matthews. And all Ryan Matthews on this series, just 2 yards for Matthews, who Richards had an injury-hit career. In fact, last season he suffered two, count them, broken collarbones.
Yeah, I think in the past he struggled with his health, and that's hurt his production, but it's not been the case this season. It's been very durable, having his best season, over 1,100 rushing yards. And in talking to Philip Rivers on Friday, he's running with more confidence. He's been much more decisive in the hole.
Now, Danny Woodhead, the one-time Patriot, one-time Jet, comes on for Matthews. It's a 3rd down and 4. And Rivers fires. Touchdown. The catch by Ladarius Green, who goes 6'6", about 240 pounds. He is tall and can leap.
Well, they like those stacked releases, and you're going to see Ladarius Webb. He goes to the corner. They've got a crossing route, safety laid over the top, but a perfect throw once again by Philip Rivers.
And for Rivers, his 30th touchdown pass of the season. Green with his 3rd touchdown reception. 5 plays, 78 yards in just under 2.5 minutes. So both clubs with quick-moving drives, and this is Nick Novak looking to tie it.
Yeah, not a lot of defense to start this game, and you're going to see with, even in talking with Philip Rivers, you know, he's concerned with all the different personnel on the defensive side of the ball. These are guys he hasn't seen or prepared for all week.
So Novak able to tie it. Philip Rivers gets it right back after the quick start by Kansas City, tied at 7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Bank of America. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Back in San Diego, Andy Reid telling us yesterday that he faced this type of scenario 4 times with the Eagles, and he either had his starters play limited minutes or sat them out. Of the Eagles, Rich went on to win their first playoff game in 3 of those 4 situations.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where he's given a lot of thought. And first and foremost, it's about his football team, getting his football team best prepared for the postseason.
Quentin Depps running it out. Hesitated for a moment, and a nice return out near the 35. Nick Novak, the kicker, made the stop. It's a 41-yard kick return. And there is the head coach of the Chiefs, Andy Reid, who's a major candidate for Coach of the Year honors, 3-time NFL Coach of the Year.
It's amazing what he has done in one short season. Took over a 2-14 team. They're 11-4 right now. They are the 5th seed regardless of what happens here. And again, his decision is going to impact Pittsburgh. If Kansas City loses today, and of course, if San Diego gets in, there'll be a lot of questions, concerns, maybe even criticism about his decision to rest his starters.
Daniel on a keeper. People in Pittsburgh cannot be happy with the moves here by Andy Reid. Set for an update, JB and Shannon.
Shannon, this guy is actually pretty good, is he not?
8 of 9 on the drive for 70 yards, adding to his TD record total. This 3-yarder to Eric Decker. Peyton Manning now has 52 total touchdowns passing, 7-0 Broncos over the Raiders.
Simply remarkable. Back to Marv and Rich.
You get the idea of watching a video game season with Peyton Manning. Cyrus Gray now in the backfield, and Daniel is hauled down. Taken down by Corey Liuget, make it 5.5 sacks on the season for Liuget.
And this is going to be the challenge for this offensive line. You've got a lot of different moving parts. You've got players that haven't played a lot this year, players that are making their first ever start, and that could have a huge impact on Chase Daniel's ability to trust that protection and step up inside.
Loss of 7 on the play. We asked Chase in our discussion with him last night, his last regular season start, and he said it was actually 2008. He started for Missouri in the Alamo Bowl, and then started in the East-West Shrine game back in 2008. Did start 1 preseason game for the Chiefs. On the roll, able to complete to Gray, not much there, as he is taken down by the free safety, Eric Weddle.
Well, the Chargers talked all week about closing the gap between themselves and these running backs of the Chiefs in the screen game. They thought and prepared all week for Jamal Charles. It's not Charles, it's Gray in this situation. But an excellent job there by Pro Bowl safety Eric Weddle, not allowing the back any space.
So the punting unit has come on. Dustin Colquitt, who averages 46 yards per punt. So effective placing the ball inside the 20. Keenan Allen is back and takes a high hop. Bounces back around the 30-yard line. Just a 37-yard punt. Chiefs and Chargers tied at 7. Well, this game part of one of the more bizarre AFC playoff finishes in the history of the league. And Pittsburgh is alive at 8-8 and can get into the playoffs, Rich, with the loss by San Diego, because if there's a 4-way tie due to all the tiebreakers, and I know you'll figure that out. You'll come up with the...
Well, Mike McCoy talked to his team on Friday about, hey, look, all we can do is take care of our business. We can't control what happens in the earlier games. We just have to find a way to go out and beat the Chiefs.
Ryan Matthews is the running back, as Rivers takes a long look, and that is taken down. He had a lot of time but could not find anyone, and it's James Michael Johnson, second-year player out of Nevada, who comes up with his first sack of the season.
Well, that's a coverage sack. I mean, there's just nowhere to go with the football. And Phillip Rivers has got pretty good protection. He takes a couple extra hitches. But you're going to see a lot of man-to-man coverage in this Chiefs secondary. And if you're a receiver for the Chargers, you're going to have to beat man-to-man. There's a good look at Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator. I think he's done an outstanding job this year. Play a ton, though, of man-to-man coverage.
14th season in the NFL. First with the Chiefs after 13 years with the Jets. Second out and 17 as Rivers is able to step up, and it's picked off. picked off by Parker. Ron Parker, one of the backups in the secondary, making his first start of the season, returns for 15. That's his second interception of the season.
Well, Phil Rivers is frustrated because the receiver is going to stumble out of the break. You're going to see as he's coming in on the in cut, he's going to stumble. Phil Rivers has no idea Keenan Allen's going to stumble. And what happens is, as he stumbles, the corner, Ron Parker, is there for the easy interception.
And Rich, Ron Parker, one of the more experienced backups in the lineup, because he has played as a guy who would come in for Sean Smith or Dante Robinson. So first down, Kansas City at the San Diego 23-yard line. The running back is Niall Davis, who was very impressive on that opening drive. Play fake, and the pass deflected. Ends up incomplete. Junior Hemingway, another backup receiver, the intended receiver.
Well, you're going to see some movement here. And Chase Daniels doesn't have the tight end, but this one comes out hot and high. And that is too hard to handle if you're Junior Hemingway. And sometimes when you're making your first ever start, man, your energy, your emotions, you got to find a way to settle yourself down. That's an easy throw for a guy like Chase Daniel, one he normally would make.
Second out and 10. Now he swings it out. It is Cyrus Gray. Gray able to fall forward to the 20-yard line. Gray, a second-year player from Texas A&M. He's been primarily special teams. Jaleel Adai, rookie from Central Michigan, making the tackle. How about 140 points off turnover this season?
This is where they've been so much better. I mean, easiest way to go from 2 wins this season to go to 11 this season is to take care of the football. Last year, they turned it over 24 times. They were minus 24. This year, they're a plus 17, a difference of 41. And a lot of that is because of the play of Alex Smith.
Kansas City looking at a third down and 7. Daniel with time, able to complete. And then it's fumbled but recovered. It's Hemingway making the catch, dropped it, and was able to cover up and has the first down.
Well, they love these little option routes. He's going to work back and forth across the field on the safety, Eric Weddle. And that's what they want. They want the wide receiver matched up on the safety. Now you just got to find a way to protect the ball.
Junior Hemingway making his second NFL start. Played in every game, 7th round pick last year out of Michigan. It is a first and goal for the Chiefs. Just under 7 left in this first quarter. The game tied at 7. Daniel with the inside handoff. This is Davis up the middle. Niall Davis. In college, had fumble problems at Arkansas. Put a couple on the ground last week, which did upset Andy Reid. But here he is in the starting lineup for Jamal Charles. What a season for Jamal Charles, averaging 5 yards a carry, 1,287 yards rushing, leads the NFL in touchdowns with 19. Second and goal. Off the pitch. Davis able to go wide, and he's bumped out at the 4.
Well, you're going to see Donald Stevenson. He's going to get out in front of it. They're going to pull and just run the toss, a simple toss to the left. Nice job kicking out the corner, and Davis is there to kind of finish.
Third and goal at the 4-yard line. It has been a strong start for a Kansas City team comprised of backups. And it appears that the Chiefs are taking a timeout. Andy Reid waving Chase Daniel over to the sideline.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Cadillac. And by T-Mobile. Unleash.
We're back at the Q in San Diego. Third and goal at the 4. Cyrus Gray returns at running back. A lot of movement. Daniel, he'll run. He fakes. And a flag is down. He had actually gotten past the line of scrimmage where he pumped and faked, which would not have been a good idea. Manti Te'o on the tackle.
Offside, number 50, defense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat third down.
And it is Te'o called on that offside penalty.
Well, you got a little antsy. They're going to bring pressure. You're going to see both linebackers and safety come, and Te'o just jumps the snap count.
A moment ago, Eric Fisher, who is the starting right tackle, left the field, looked to be hurt, and Jeff Schwartz, 5-year man from Oregon, has come on, so he is now at right tackle. Fisher, one of the 2 normal starters, and here's Daniel throwing. Beautiful play by Dexter McCluster, the spin to get it to the end zone for the touchdown. Dexter McCluster, who made the Pro Bowl as a punt returner, comes up with his 2nd receiving touchdown of the season.
Well, you're going to see so much internal pressure, and the best thing for that is to kick the ball wide for these quick screens, and we see a ton of it now in the NFL. But a guy like Dexter McCluster, you just want to get him in space. Does a nice job up after the initial hit, spinning out, finding a way to score. That's one of the problems when you pressure down in this part of the field. You expose yourself on the back end.
So Chase Daniel has done a nice job here at the start. Stuck up with the extra point. 6 plays, 23 yards in just under 3 minutes. It began with the interception, and the Chiefs with a 14-7 lead. Here's Dexter McCluster, number 22, 4-year man from Ole Miss, 2nd-round draft pick, who just took it in for his 2nd touchdown of the season. Set up off the interception by Ron Parker. And we have seen a very composed Chase Daniel in his 1st NFL start.
Really looks good, Marvin. Just visiting with him last night, you got the sense it wasn't going to be too much for him. So he didn't do anything different in terms of his preparation this week, except take all the reps with the first team.
So to bring it out to the 20-yard line, thought your fantasy season was over. It's not. Play NFL Playoff Challenge. 8 players, 4 rounds. To learn more and sign up, go to NFL.com/fantasy. If the Chargers win, they are in the number 6 slot in the AFC playoff scenario. If the Chargers lose, Pittsburgh is in. It's a 4-way tie, and Pittsburgh, due to tiebreakers, gets the advantage as Matthews looked to take it outside, and he's cut off, stopped by Parker. Matthews picked up 3. Matthews had that big run early on for 44 yards.
Yeah, he's been really solid this year. I mean, he's taking care of the football, and he's almost 300 touches. He had just 1 fumble. He talked about the durability concerns. They've been answered this year. He's been much more involved in the passing game, which has certainly helped Phillip Rivers.
2nd down and 7. And again, it's Matthews. They gang tackle him right near the 25-yard line, perhaps a yard on the play. Chargers have won 3 straight, 4 of their last 5. Last week here at home, beat the Raiders 26-13 as they pulled away on the second half.
Yeah, they've been on a roll the last 3 weeks. Wins over the Giants, the Broncos, and the Raiders, as you point out, averaging 30 points a game, over 150 rushing yards a game. And the best thing to do is they're not turning it over on offense.
Danny Woodhead has come on now for Ryan Matthews. Last season, Chargers 7-9, missed the playoffs. They've missed the playoffs the last 3 years. Rivers trying to step up, a wobbly pass, and it's caught. Keenan Allen for the first down and more. Picked up 24.
Boy, if you just give Phillip Rivers time in the pocket, he is going to make you pay. And he does a nice job stepping up inside and finding Keenan Allen, his rookie, a leading candidate for NFL Rookie of the Year honors. 66 catches, 957 yards, and 8 touchdowns. This is a guy that has really come on in the second half of the season for the Chargers.
So the Chargers first down at midfield. This is Woodhead trying to find the opening. Jay Howard, the nose tackle, making the tackle. Keenan Allen said the other day at the start of the season, Rich, he was so frustrated to see the other possible Rookie of the Year candidates, Eddie Lacy and Giovanni Bernard. He was so frustrated that he was not getting the snaps that he actually considered quitting football. This is the first week.
I think it surprised some teammates and some coaches. I don't know if he really felt like quitting. I think he was very frustrated with the situation. Got off to a slow start in training camp, but as I said before, he has really come on.
2nd and 8, the completion to Royal with running room. Royal is pulled down from behind. Kendrick Lewis, the free safety, was able to chase him down, but he picked up 30 yards.
Well, again, a little slip screen. You're going to see the offensive lineman get out in front. And this is really what Eddie Royal does so well. Not the biggest guy, but he's got great vision and great quickness. It's amazing. You know, Eddie Royal's a guy that hardly practices. We were out there on Friday. He didn't take any reps, but he's able to play on Sundays.
Beautiful block thrown by Keenan Allen. Here's Matthews. This time tries to get to the outside. Able to work his way inside the 15 for a gain of 6. Thursday on CBS, banging the new year with TV's #1 comedy, The Big Bang Theory's first new episode of the year. That's Thursday at 8, 7 Central, only CBS. Woodhead checks back in, 2nd down and 4. The Chiefs off to a 14-7 lead on the Chargers, who are desperate for a win here in the season finale. And again, it's Woodhead. Picked up the 1st down.
They do a good job mixing things up with Danny Woodhead. I mean, you think about a guy that's got 69 receptions, but they also hand him the football as well. And I always get a kick out of watching Danny Woodhead at practice. I mean, he is so small and so unassuming. I mean, you look at him, you think he wouldn't make your high school football team, but he is just a great football player. He's got a great feel for the passing game. He's a tough guy, and he's a very determined runner.
He's listed at 5'8", at about 200 pounds. 1st and goal at the 10-yard line. This is Matthews. Okay, short pickup.
Well, it's amazing to me, Marvin, when we watched Ryan Matthews in practice on Friday. I turned to our producer, Jim Rickoff. I said, there's no chance that he plays on Sunday. I mean, I just didn't see it. He was gimpy, he was limping around. And when we sat down with Mike McCoy after practice and said, hey, can you go through the injury, the lineups with us? He said, yeah, he's going to play. Hey, he's going to play. It's week 17. Guy's a tough guy.
Talking about our producer.
Yeah, he's a tough guy, too.
9th play of the drive. 2nd and goal at the 8. Now Woodhead is flanked to the near side. Out of the gun. Rivers looking that way. And completes to Woodhead. As this 1st quarter comes to an end in the midst of a San Diego drive. At the end of 1, Chiefs for the 14-7 lead over the Chargers. We'll be back to San Diego after these messages. As the 2nd quarter gets underway, 10th play of the drive is coming up for the Chargers, who lead the NFL in that department. 10-play drives, 37 of them. They also lead the league in time of possession, although that's a category. It's how you use the time.
Yeah, they've been very efficient, though. I mean, it really boils down to how productive the quarterback has been. He's completing almost 70% of his passes. They don't waste a lot of plays.
3rd down and goal. Woodhead remains in the backfield. Rivers takes a long look. He throws. Touchdown. Antonio Gates with his 4th touchdown of the season. This is shaping up like an old AFL-type game.
Yeah, you have to have a plan for how you're going to cover Antonio Gates. You see Rivers, he's trying to get that snap. They've got the matchup they want. Gates on the safety, Kendrick Lewis. He is just too good and too quick at the line of scrimmage.
8-time Pro Bowl tight end, future Hall of Famer, 11-year man from Kent State. And here's Nick Novak. 10 plays, 80 yards, 5 minutes, 11 seconds. The Chiefs and the Chargers are tied at 14. Rich, to this point, Chase Daniel in his first NFL start is kind of hanging with Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, he's looked sharp. And, of course, Phillip Rivers, look at those numbers, Marv. 6 of 7, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. The only interception, of course, came when Keenan Allen stumbled out of his break. In a big week for Chase Daniel getting his first ever start. His first ever reps with the first team, as he told us on Friday.
Quentin Depps with the return. That's up near the 25-yard line. So it's a 29-yard return. Eric Weddle able to make the stop.
It's amazing. We were talking to Chase, and again, he said it's the first time in his career, in his 5 years, he's ever had reps with the first team. Never got that opportunity when he played down in New Orleans because Drew Brees took all of them. He's a rep hog, and of course Alex Smith, in this system, he takes all the reps, and Chase Daniel takes all the reps with the scout team, and that's just the way it's set up in Kansas City.
They start from the 24-yard line, and this is Niall Davis. Were you a rep hog, Rich?
Oh yeah, always.
Oh, that's awful. We're set for an update. JB and Shannon.
New England looking to clinch a first-round bye.
Yes, JB, they're up 13-3 thanks to LeGarrette. I call him the Winnebago. Blunt, 36 yards, 11 carries, 101 yards, and that tub you just saw, 13-3.
Remarkable. In the ring, Marv and Rich.
All right, guys. It's a 2nd down and 4 for the Chiefs. Short set by Daniel in the pass off the mark, intended for A.J. Jenkins. Chase Daniel telling us yesterday while with New Orleans the past 4 years, learned so much about preparing the right way from both Drew Brees and head coach Sean Payton.
Yeah, I think, again, what an invaluable experience to play behind a guy like Drew Brees. Taught him how to prepare and had a routine that they followed each week. He continues with that same routine in Kansas City. But again, most of his playing experience has come in the preseason.
McCluster in motion, out of the gun. Daniel completes and has a first down. Dexter McCluster on the reception for 9 and a Kansas City first down.
Well, you go back and you study Chase Daniel at Missouri. He's a very accurate passer, and he has played well in the preseason for what it's worth. And just in talking to Andy Reid yesterday about Chase and why they decided to sign him in free agency, he said he's very smart, liked the background that he had in the offense with Sean Payton down in New Orleans. And without question, he is very competitive. He knew he'd be mentally ready for this challenge.
Little trickery there with Jenkins on a double reverse. Not much. Look out. The yardstick marker went flying. Just a yard pickup as Sharice Wright was not fooled.
Yeah, a little trickery, and again, it's about misdirection. And nice job here by the Chargers, staying home on the backside. They have done a much better job eliminating the explosive plays here the last 5 or 6 weeks.
Gave me that Rich Gannon head fake, and I went for it. 2nd down and 9. Cyrus Gray is now flanked to the right. So the empty backfield for Daniel. And he calls timeout. There was some confusion there. You could see Daniel was expecting the snap. So the Chiefs have 1 timeout remaining in this first half.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by TD Ameritrade. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by the redesigned Honda Odyssey. Honda starts something special.
All right, back in San Diego, here's Alex Smith, who has had a superb season, inactive today. So Chase Daniel is in the lineup, has a 2nd down and 9, and it is caught by Jenkins again and works his way for a first down. Alex Smith, who says he grew up in this stadium where he sat in the stands and cheered for his favorite team. He's from this area, went to Helix High School in nearby La Mesa, California. 25-1 as a starter his junior and senior seasons, and was a teammate of Reggie Bush. the senior class president, graduated a semester early with a 4.4 GPA.
I'm sure he's going to be pleased that you shared those pictures with the world.
Here's Niall Davis working his way to the 40, met by Donald Butler, picked up a 6 on the play. He was a Charger fan, a Padre fan. Padres now playing downtown in a more, let's say, state-of-the-art facility. Alex won 2 high school championship games in this stadium. And then as a quarterback at Utah, played his first game here. That did not go too well against San Diego State, and then he played one of his best games here as a collegian. 2nd out and 4, Davis in the backfield, tied at the 14. As Davis, you can see Davis was protecting that football, particularly after what took place with the 2 fumbles a week ago.
Yeah, you know, look, this is a great opportunity, I think, for a lot of these young players. And I know how excited this coaching staff is to see these young players perform. And in an important game, look, you know, you can say what you want. Andy Reid knows that he wants to see these guys. This could help them down the road, whether it's in the postseason, whether it's in terms of evaluating these players, in terms of whether or not they'll come back and be a part of the 2014 program. But this is a good opportunity for these guys to get out and play in Week 17.
3rd and 4 at the Charger 40. A deep drop. Daniel trying to set up the screen for Davis.
Well, you can see the timing and the rhythm is off a little bit. You got a lot of different players playing for the first time, and see both backs. A pretty good job there by San Diego. You get a good look at Reggie Walker. He was out in front of it as well. That play took too long to develop.
Well, on offense, 6 Chiefs making their first NFL start. On defense, 4 Chief players making their first NFL start, and all 20 of the 22 on the field would be considered backup players. Not the punter, Dustin Colquitt, as he comes on.
On how it's going to impact special teams as well. Remember now, these are core performers on special teams.
Keenan Allen lets it fly by, and it bounces into the end zone. It's a 40-yard punt. So the Chargers will take over, tied at 14. Programming reminder, Tuesday, CBS Sports jumps into the bowl season. Logan Thomas and the Virginia Tech Hokies go up against Pac-12 offensive and defensive freshman of the year, Miles Jack, and the UCLA Bruins. Rich, a 2-way player.
Isn't it amazing at that level?
Well, San Diego, with a win here this afternoon, makes it to the playoffs, while Pittsburgh is in with a loss by the Chargers.
And it's amazing when you talk about what the Chargers, I mean, just a month ago they were at 5-7. No one gave them a chance. They have won 3 straight, and now they control their own destiny. A win here today against the Chiefs. And we'll see Phillip Rivers and the Chargers in the postseason.
Ryan Matthews gets up to the 24-yard line.
No, the great thing about Phillip Rivers is when a mistake happens around him, it doesn't really bother him. He comes right back, big touchdown throw to Ladarius Green. He loves to work the tight ends in this offense, none more so than Antonio Gates, who's had some terrific numbers once again for the Chargers this season. You look at him, 73 catches. He leads the team in receptions.
Phillip Rivers with that arm so strong. He's tough. He's durable. There is a lack of mobility, but he certainly has worked through that as he hits Matthews across the 30-yard line right at the marker.
Well, and you see him, he'll sit in there until the very last second, and he's done a better job stepping up inside the pocket this year. Just in talking to Ken Whisenhunt, the offensive coordinator, he said that last year he was stepping out of the back of the pocket. In other words, he wasn't trusting the protection, and it was affecting his footwork. It was affecting the timing, even his confidence in the pocket. We've seen a much different Phillip Rivers this year in an offense, I think, that fits him like a glove.
Chargers just short of a first down, 3rd and about a half yard. They go with Matthews and McClain in the backfield, and it's the fullback McClain who has the first down. You mentioned the offensive coordinator Ken Whisenhunt, one-time head coach at Arizona, and has reemerged as a hot name for another hire as a head coach.
Yeah, he's done a terrific job, and I think it's interesting how they meshed a number of different schemes and philosophies on offense to get where they are. You know, Mike McCoy brought some things with him from Denver. Of course, Wiz brought in what he did in Arizona. Frank Reich, the quarterback coach, what he did in Buffalo and Indianapolis with some of the K-gun scheme, and it's all kind of worked together for Philip Rivers and the Chargers.
First out at the 32-yard line for San Diego. Matthews trying to change of direction. Stopped by Demps. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Talking about head coaching jobs. Tomorrow, always a tough day.
Man.
It's Black Monday, as they say, in the NFL.
Yeah, and a couple coaches for sure will probably be let go, and it's always a tough time. They put so much time in, and it doesn't always work out. It's not always the head coach's fault. Sometimes you have to look at the players as well.
2nd and 8. Rivers couldn't find anyone and runs out of the pack. He's able to make something out of it. He's taken down by Josh Martin, rookie out of Columbia.
Well, you talk about this is kind of a last resort for Philip Rivers. You know, we hardly ever see him run. Again, you see the pocket collapse around him, and he is a hard guy to get on the ground. He is big and strong in the pocket.
6'5", about 230. Picked up a couple on that play. Rivers with 7 completions to 6 different receivers. Rivers able to sidearm it, and it is incomplete. Pass intended for Allen. Covered by Marcus Cooper.
Well, the pressure from the Chiefs has been good because they forced Philip Rivers off the spot. This one's going to take a one hop, I think, to Keenan Allen. Yep. Just wasn't able to get enough on it because of the pressure.
So the punting unit coming on. Mike Cyphers boots for the first time, and a fair catch called by the back pedal McCluster. It's a good punt, 51 yards. Chiefs and Chargers, 14 apiece.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of current and former military members and their families. And by the new Windows, one experience for everything in your life.
Kansas City back to the offense here in San Diego. Here are some of the biggest turnarounds in NFL history. See Miami back in 2007, 1-15. They turned things. The Colts 2-14 go to 11-5 last year. And how about the Kansas City Chiefs last season in a disaster, 2-14, and here they are in the playoffs, 11-4. Knile Davis, a loss of 4, stopped by Cam Thomas.
Yeah, Cam Thomas, he's just going to come off the right side of your screen. I mean, he just beats the tackle across his face. Knile Davis has nowhere to go. That defensive line has played better up front. You look at Reyes and Legit, and of course Cam Thomas. Lismore has played and has rotated through there. It's going to be the challenge for this Kansas City offensive line.
2nd down, 14. Once again, it is Davis. Beautiful move to get to the outside. They thought they had him, but he reaches out to the 19. Eric Weddle, the free safety, makes the stop, and it's a pickup of 8. Well, Andy Reid coming over to Kansas City, is their first season as head coach this year, and the Chiefs making a dramatic turn from a year ago. We showed you the 2-14, although incredibly last season, Rich, they had 6 players making it to the Pro Bowl, so there is the thought they had some players.
Oh, they did. Yeah, he inherited a team with some talent. They added to it. Of course, he put together an outstanding staff, and it's been a dramatic turnaround in Kansas City.
Cyrus Gray returns to the backfield for this 3rd down and 5 from the 19. Daniel in trouble. Daniel running, finds the opening. Chase Daniel puts the speed on and gets to midfield. where he's caught by Sharice Wright, the right corner, and Daniel goes for 29.
Really fortunate. They're going to bring blitz, and of course, the quarterback doesn't see it until it's too late, but he does the next best thing. He steps up inside, and he's able to scramble for the first down. When you bring pressure and you're playing so much man-to-man coverage, you have your back to the quarterback. Chase Daniels shows that he can do a little bit what Alex Smith has done this year. He's already rushed for over 431 yards.
From the 48-yard line, Davis picked up 2, met by Lawrence Guy. Chase Daniel had never started an NFL game. He said there was a preseason game he did start back in August, but has not had significant playing time since he was a senior at Missouri.
Just 17 career attempts in the NFL, and so, but you know, in visiting with the Chiefs last night, I asked Andy Reid, what about the volume? We're going to cut back the volume? He said, not at all. We're going to turn this guy loose. He's a smart guy, and we're going to go out there and run our offense.
2nd and 8. Daniel on the run again. Fakes the throw and has a first down. What a move by Daniel. Covered up by Donald Butler.
Well, it's showing he's resourceful, and again, you're going to see San Diego bringing a lot of 5- and 6-man pressures to try and get after Chase Daniel. Want to make sure that he has answers. He has tools in his toolbox to account for all the pressure and blitz that he's seeing in the first half.
Daniel, undrafted free agent, signed originally by the Redskins after a superb career at Missouri, and then ended up with the Saints as the backup to Breeze. And this is Davis fighting running room, and he is hauled down inside the 25-yard line. It's an 18-yard run. Richard Marshall, the left corner, makes the tackle.
Well, they're not doing a good job on the backside. This run's going to start front side, and then it's going to wind to the backside, and they're not doing a good enough job. The linebackers getting hooked. They're getting up on the second level, and they're turning Knile Davis loose.
Knile Davis, a big play threat, and he's run well here today. 12 carries, 73 yards. First down at the San Diego 24-yard line. Again to the ground. This time Davis is cut off. Good play by Donald Butler. Loss of a yard.
Well, the 7th straight run. Now they've called some passes. The quarterback has scrambled, but you know, Andy Reid is going to lean on this offensive line. Look, I don't think this is important to him. He wants to see the tempo. He wants to see him in and out of the huddle. They've had a couple of mistakes where they've had to burn some timeouts because of some confusion with some of the younger players.
Rich, I know you didn't totally agree with what Andy Reid has done. Are you surprised with what you've seen? A long way to go, but from what you've seen here in the first half?
I am a little bit, because, you know, when you think about so many different players starting, you think about mistakes and communication issues.
And Daniel able to complete to the leaping McCluster. How about Dexter McCluster going for 12? Dexter McCluster making the Pro Bowl as a punt runner. And look at that as he puts the move on, and a first down. Reminder coming up on the Verizon halftime report is JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer. Coach Bill Cowher will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime. Davis, the running back, 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line. And Daniel able to hit on the screen to Davis. Davis has the speed. Is taken down by Donald Butler, so Davis goes for 7 more.
Well, they love the screen game. You're going to fake the ball to Davis, and then they just kick it out to him. You see the lineman get downfield, and we've seen so much success with Jamal Charles, and now we're seeing it with Knile Davis as well. They have so many different screens. And they come off of plays that look the same, but are very different.
Chargers take a timeout, stops the clock with a minute 52 remaining in this first half. San Diego Chargers with a victory would make it to the playoffs off the fast finish. 3 straight wins for the last 5. And going up against a Kansas City team that is primarily backups. 20 of the 22 players are backups. And the quarterback, Alex Smith, who has had a tremendous year, inactive, as is Pro Bowl running back Jamal Charles. This is Davis.
And off to Niall Davis.
So Davis picked up 5. And it's a first down. First and goal. 11th play of this drive that started back on the 14.
I'm a little surprised that San Diego hasn't had more success against this Kansas City offensive line. Remember, Marv, we talked about the number of different starters that are out of this lineup. You've got a completely different offensive line, including a rookie center who was inactive each of the first 15 games of the season in Eric Bush.
It's a first and goal at the 2-yard line. The handoff, Davis, he's in, touchdown! 2-yard run by Davis for the touchdown, and the Chiefs recapture the lead.
I'm really surprised that Kansas City has had this much success and really this much ease going up against this San Diego defense. You can see how excited Alex Smith is. You always, you cheer for the other guy, and I think when you're a player like Alex Smith, who's had success, who's come here and helped turn this Kansas City Chief team around, I think you're proud when other guys can go out there and play as well.
Well, Ryan Succop gets it through as Niall Davis comes up with a second touchdown of this first half, and 4th for the season. You see some of the Chief fans behind the Kansas City bench. What a drive, 11 plays, 86 yards, just under 6. And it was keyed by that long run by the quarterback, Chase Daniel. And there is Mike McCoy in his first season as a head coach. Mike McCoy, longtime assistant who worked much of his career with John Fox in Carolina and Denver. Did an excellent job in Denver 2 years ago. Remember adapting the Broncos offense to Tim Tebow, and then last season working with Peyton Manning, with Peyton making his comeback, and Peyton has gone on to have a pretty good season this year.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I give Mike a lot of credit because he did it with Peyton Manning last year. He's done it with Phillip Rivers this year. You look at the improvement that Phillip Rivers has made, and he's got experience in coming into a situation with a veteran quarterback and having those two players really have outstanding first years in the system. That is not easy when you change a system with a veteran quarterback.
The kick handled by Ronnie Brown. Trying to cut to his left. And he is hauled down. Taken down by Akeem Jordan. Fantasy football fans, you can keep the excitement going all postseason with Playoff Challenge. Now with bigger cash prizes. See rules and sign up at cbssports.com/challenge. All right, what does Rivers do right here? A minute to go, starting out at the 18. How does he play it?
Well, he has to put one of those 10-play drives that you were talking about earlier. They have more of them than any team in football, but he's got 2 timeouts left. He's got to be efficient. One thing he cannot do is take a sack.
And Rivers swings it out. Not much there. Danny Woodhead makes the catch. Just under a minute remaining in this first half. 4-yard advance. Dante Robinson on the coverage. 2nd down and 6.
Phil Rivers is so good in these situations. You talk about how important experience is. He knows exactly what to do.
This time a long count. Rivers had the time but could not find anyone and did not want to throw it away irresponsibly. Frank Zumbo able to get to the quarterback, his 2nd sack of the season, as a timeout is called by San Diego. Look at Nick Novak, if they can make it a little bit closer from where they are at this point.
They've got a ways to go, and Nick has been very accurate this year. 32 of 35, perfect 11 of 11 from 40 yards, from outside 40 yards. There's only 2 of the 3 misses were blocks. They've got a ways to go, Marv. They got to pick up 45 yards or 50 yards to get in his field goal range.
He's hit his last 15. He's the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week as he hit all 4 field goals, including a 48-yarder in last Sunday's win over the Raiders. 3rd down and 6 for Rivers. And Rivers just dumps it off. Whoa. Incomplete pass intended for Vincent Brown. He had nowhere to go. That was dangerous.
Yeah, he just tries to flip it, and again, he wasn't looking. That's part of the problem right there. That's not an easy thing. That's not an easy adjustment for Vincent Brown. You wonder if Philip Rivers just could have kept running and followed Vincent Brown down the field. Not enough separation between the quarterback and receiver.
Charger fans frustrated, and you can hear some boos off that last play. Here's McCluster. Fair catch at the 39 on a 39-yard punt. But this a high-scoring first half, which was the case in their earlier meeting back in Week 12. The Chargers beat the Chiefs in a wild game, 41-38 in Kansas City, and both Alex Smith and Philip Rivers played well, and Jamal Charles had 115 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, neither defense has really played that well so far here in the first half. But you look at where Chase Daniel is now. I mean, he's you got 32 seconds and you've got a timeout, and pick up 22 yards here, and you'll give your kicker a chance for a field goal.
Although you wonder if Andy Reid is going to be a little careful at this point with 32 seconds, as you mentioned, remaining. Let's see how Daniel plays it. He goes short range. Davis. Stopped by Weddle.
I don't think that Andy Reid needs to be conservative. Marv, you mentioned they're 11-4. They've got that 5th seed locked up. I think that, you talk about the Chiefs today, I think they can play loose and carefree and be aggressive. I mean, they could play 4-down football, and that's what I would do if I was Andy Reid.
But they let the clock run out, and you can hear more boos directed to the San Diego Chargers. Rich, I didn't realize you were attack.
Why not? Let's have fun.
21-14 at the half. Kansas City leading San Diego. San Diego needing a win to make it into that 6th playoff spot. That's the end of the first half. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. We're back at the Big Q at San Diego's Qualcomm Stadium, and in a surprise, Kansas City going primarily with backups, still leading San Diego 21-14. Playoffs on the line for the Chargers, and with a minute left in the first half, his quarterback Chase Daniel with a handoff to Niall Davis, giving the Chiefs a 21-14 lead, and that is the score as we head to the second half. Football like you've never heard it, presented to you by Sonos. Marv Albert, along with Rich Gannon. What does San Diego have to do to change things in the second half?
Well, they have not played well defensively. I think it really starts with their run defense. They've already given up 123 yards on the ground in the first half. Niall Davis, 79 and 2 touchdowns. They've got to do a better job stopping the run on the early downs. The other thing they've got to be able to do is they've got to be able to contain Chase Daniel. He has gotten out of the pocket a couple times and presented some problems for that secondary.
Chase Daniel making his first NFL start, and he has done a good job. Running back Niall Davis, playing for the Pro Bowler Jamal Charles, also has been a major factor in the first half. So San Diego will receive a look at Ronnie Brown, former member of the Ball club. And this is Brown. Works his way across the 20-yard line. Stopped by Cyrus Gray, so it's a 28-yard return, and here comes Phillip Rivers. 8 for 11, 99 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception in the first half.
Yeah, I thought he looked sharp, and again, you know, you look at Mike McCoy, the concern on his face, and they know what's at stake. All they've got to do is take care of business here in the second half, and they'll find themselves in the postseason.
So Rivers out of the gun. He has Ryan Matthews to his right. They start out from the 23-yard line. And he swings it out. Matthews reaching out near the 30, picked up 6 on the play. For those who may have just tuned in, Andy Reid going with 20 of his 22 players being backups. Only 2 starters, both on offense. The right tackle, Eric Fisher, and the fullback, Anthony Sherman. And here's Matthews. Picked up a yard. Ryan Matthews had that big run in the first quarter, 44 yards, which led to a touchdown. I'd like to welcome those joining us. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon. We are in San Diego and Kansas City, despite the fact that they're playing, for the most part, backup players, leading the Chargers 21-14. On the line for San Diego with Miami and Baltimore losing is a playoff spot, the number 6 seed. And here is Rivers firing, and it was dropped by Eddie Royal. Off double coverage, had a shot. Look at the playoff scenario. San Diego would be eliminated with a defeat here. Pittsburgh, with the win over Cleveland, is in with a San Diego defeat. And Miami and Baltimore, both losing earlier, have been eliminated from playoff contention. Punting unit comes on. Dexter McCluster, one of the best in the NFL, takes the fair catch at the 16-yard line. It's a 52-yard punt. And here comes Chase Daniel, who is making his first NFL start. A look at Alex Smith, an inactive today among many of the Kansas City Stars who are sitting it out, with Andy Reid going for the rest rather than rust. Knile Davis on the carry for no gain.
Well, the Chiefs got it started with the Knile Davis 17-yard run. Came right back with throw to Gates, and of course, it's been back and forth scoring in the first half, but Knile Davis, 2 touchdown runs, put the Chiefs up 21-14 at the half.
Second and 10 at the 18. Daniel couldn't find anyone. He's run very well today. Slides across the 25-yard line, picked up 6.
Well, this is the one thing that I don't think the Chargers have accounted for. It's the mobility of Chase Daniel. We see it a lot with Alex Smith, but that's one of the problems when you don't see a quarterback. And talking to the defensive coordinator, John Pagano of the San Diego Chargers, he said, hey, we're not going to go back and look at preseason tape of Chase Daniel. We're going to trust that they're going to run their scheme and run their offense based on what we saw the first 15 weeks.
Chase Daniel, longtime backup for Drew Brees in New Orleans, making his first NFL start. Big play right here as he guns it, but short of the first down. And the question is, was it called complete? Junior Hemingway spun around by Sharice Wright, but it does not matter. The punting unit will come on.
Well, good protection and critical third down situation. To run the crossing route. The Chiefs love these crossing routes, but very good coverage by Wright. He is right in the back pocket of Junior Hemingway.
Keenan Allen is back for this Dustin Colquitt punt. Keenan Allen, an outstanding rookie receiver out of Cal. back at his 26-yard line. And he's calling for the fair catch at the 20. A 54-yard punt. Let's see what Philip Rivers can do as he takes the field. Chargers back to the offense.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Aflac. When you're sick or hurt, Aflac pays you cash. Find out more at aflac.com. And by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
It's been a beautiful day in Southern California, so the Chiefs are back to the offense. Ryan Matthews able to cut back the other way. Gets across the 25-yard line, tripped up by Ron Parker, another of a number of backups on the field for Andy Reid, so it's a 3-yard advance for Matthews.
You know, what's amazing to me is that we watched the first half is that you don't get a sense that the Chiefs have cut back on the volume defensively. I mean, it's not like they had an elaborate game plan, but they're making sure that they get lined up. The communication has been sound on defense.
2nd down and 7. We're opening minutes, 3rd quarter, and the Kansas City Chiefs with a surprising 7-point lead. Here's Matthews trying to get through the line on the right side. It's met by Alan Bailey, a 3-year man from Miami, so 3-yard gain for Matthews.
You think about all the Pro Bowlers that are not playing today: Darntari Poe, Justin Houston, Tamba Hali, Brandon Flowers, Eric Berry, and yet the Chargers still having some problems against this Chiefs defense. I think it speaks volumes about the talent and the depth that they have on this defense. A lot of young players taking advantage of the opportunity.
It's a 3rd down and 3. And as we mentioned before, Andy Reid telling us last night he did the same with Philadelphia on 4 occasions and was successful 3 of the 4 times. Here's a pass thrown deep, and it is incomplete. Pass intended for Eddie Royal, who was double covered by Quentin Demps and Ron Parker. Eddie Royal was back from an injury-hit season and playing with an injured toe.
And that's twice now in this game that Philip Rivers has just missed Eddie Royal. And you point out, Marv, when you don't practice, it affects everything you do as a football team. He's got that toe injury. We were out of practice on Friday. He didn't take any reps, and that makes it very difficult even for a veteran quarterback like Philip Rivers.
4th punt here coming up for Mike Cypress, one of the best. Dexter McCluster is back, drifts to the near side. Here comes McCluster, able to accelerate. What a return by McCluster, gets inside the 35-yard line. Darryl Stuckey makes the tackle. It's a 32-yard return by the Pro Bowler.
And this is why Dexter McCluster is a Pro Bowler. He takes this thing in the air, and he takes it on the run. I mean, he was aggressive. It was a short kick. But once he gets rolling, he is tough. He is tough to bring down in the open field. Great speed and quickness from the Pro Bowl returner, Dexter McCluster.
Looks like he's a bit shaken up. 4-year man from Ole Miss, 2nd-round draft pick. All right, the handoff to Niall Davis. Straight ahead move. Cam Thomas, Jared Johnson make the stop, just a 1-yard pickup. Kansas City Chiefs began the season 9-0. Since then, they've dipped off. They've dropped 4 of the last 6. The losses 2 to Denver, 1 to the Colts, and they lost in a shootout to the Chargers. That was back in week number 12. Now Cyrus Gray comes back into the game, so he's the running back alongside Daniel. And it's Daniel on a fake or a busted play, picking up a yard. Chase Daniel in his 5th season out of Missouri. And we touched on it earlier. Much of our audience may not have been with us, but he is making his first start since his college days with Missouri, and it was in the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah, and he seemed really comfortable last night. And again, the Chiefs made a fairly sizable commitment to him in free agency. They signed him to a 3-year, $10 million deal in March for this very purpose.
It's a 3rd down and 9 for Daniel, who pegs it. Flag is down. Incomplete pass intended for A.J. Jenkins.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact. Number 29 defense. 5 yards and automatic first
It
down.
is on the right corner. Sharice Wright making for the automatic first down.
And the crazy part of this is, look, Jenkins doesn't even look like he's looking for the ball. Well, you see the hold right there, but he doesn't really get his head around. And you can see right, he clearly has the hold on A.J. Jenkins.
Chiefs have a first down at the Charger. 29, Gray in the backfield. Daniel able to stand in and then flips it ahead. He has Gray and a short pickup, but it is incomplete. Shovel pass attempted.
Chase Daniel, not the tallest quarterback. He's only 6 feet tall, but he's going to have some issues in the pocket just in terms of vision. You see, we're seeing a lot of movement from him, Marv. He's moving around, he's stepping up, he's sliding, he's buying some extra time. And the Chargers' front 7 has had a difficult time getting their hands on Chase Daniel.
Now Niall Davis has checked back in along with the fullback Anthony Sherman for the second down play. Here's the screen and it is dropped. Dropped by Davis.
Well, this is the one thing that we've seen the Chargers do a much better job of in this game. They are attacking the screen game before it hits them. Looked like Davis didn't see the ball in the sun, but they are really closing the gap. You've got to attack and hug up on the back in the screen game, and the Chargers have done an outstanding job of that here in this game.
Hit him right in the helmet, and I think you're correct. I think the sun blocked his vision. It's a 3rd and 10 from the 29. Daniels pass deflected, but it's caught short of a first down. Catch was made by Junior Hemingway, and it's only a yard pickup.
Well, this ball gets tipped at the line of scrimmage. Good penetration on the left side. Actually goes off the helmet of Corey Liuget.
So this will be a 46-yard field goal attempt by Ryan Succop, who is 21 for 26 on the season. Missed from 47 last week against the Colts, and this one is good. The Chiefs add to the lead. They're up by 10, just under 7.5 remaining in the third. Thursday on CBS, make way for the Millers, TV's #1 new comedy. Will Arnett, Margot Martindale, and Beau Bridges star Thursday after The Big Bang Theory, only CBS. Well, here are the Chargers needing a win to make it to the playoffs. How about Pittsburgh? This, after an 0-4 start, they win 6 of their last 8. And if San Diego loses to a Kansas City team that is comprised of basically backup players, Pittsburgh will make it to the playoffs, which I don't think, with Miami and Baltimore still alive earlier in the day, they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. I don't think that they would appreciate the fact that Andy Reid sat down all his starters. Right here, we're set for an update. JB and Shannon Sharp.
Here's how Chicago took the lead, Shannon.
Yes, they got a big punt return from Devin Hester. It led to this, a 5-yard TD run by Matt Forte. Their second on the day, 14-13, Bears back in front.
Back to Marv and Rich.
All right, JB, San Diego back to the offense, 7:27 remaining. In this third quarter, it's now a 10-point lead for Kansas City. Ryan Matthews in the backfield. Phillip Rivers from the gun. And again in trouble and taken down. That is the third sack of the day for the Chiefs. It is Jarrell Poe who is starting for Pro Bowler Dontari Poe.
And they're getting it done with just a 4-man rush. I mean, it's not like they're bringing 5 and 6. I mean, they're getting good pressure with a bunch of backups in the middle.
Jarrell Poe is making his first NFL start. He's been active for only 2 games, but did not even get on the field in those 2 games. He was dressed for the action. 3-year man out of Ole Miss. Second down and 13. Fake handoff. And Rivers throws deep down the left side. And the catch is made by Shea. Nope, now they say incomplete. Shea Ajira-Tutu, who has come up with a couple of big touchdown catches against Kansas City.
And when Phillip Rivers sees man-to-man coverage, he's going to give his receivers on the perimeter a chance to go up and make a play. Good effort by Ajira-Tutu. He just can't bring it down. Just can't squeeze it at the end.
In the earlier meeting against Kansas City in Week 12, he caught the game-winning touchdown with a half minute to go. 3rd and 13. Rivers throws the middle. It's caught for the first down. Catch made by Antonio Gates. It's a 16-yard gain.
Well, they do a really nice job. They bring pressure, they pick it up, and Antonio Gates is left unaccounted for in the middle of the field. And this is just a blown assignment in the secondary by the Chiefs. I mean, that's where Phillip Rivers wants to go in a critical situation. He is their leading receiver. He has been the leading receiver 8 of the past 9 seasons.
Rivers now 10 of 16, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, sacked 3 times. They go to the ground. Matthews not able to make the turn. Cut off by James Michael Johnson after picking up 2 yards.
And Matthews has slowed down quite a bit here in the second half. He had 9 carries for 68 yards in the first half. They've not been able to get him started here in the 3rd quarter.
He was a question mark earlier in the week. In fact, was wearing a walking boot earlier in the week with that injured left ankle, but he had said right from the start he will be in there. Now Danny Woodhead has come on for Matthews. 2nd and 8 to San Diego. Rivers looking right then left, completes to Woodhead. Woodhead up to the 39, went for 4, met by Hussein Abdullah, who is playing for the Pro Bowl strong safety Eric Berry.
And Woodhead has made a world of difference this year for Phillip Rivers, 69 catches. He brings an element that they haven't had since Darren Sproles left a couple of years ago.
To 3rd and 4. Now Woodhead is flanked wide to the left side at the bottom of the screen. 3rd down and 4 from the 39-yard line. Rivers able to get it off, but it is incomplete. Pass intended for Ladarius Green, who was covered by Ron Parker.
And Phillip Rivers isn't able to get enough on this throw. He actually throws this off balance. You're going to see him right at the end. He slide. He can't get that right leg through the throw, and that affects his accuracy.
So Dexter McCluster is back as the punting unit comes on for a 5th straight time. Mike Cypress, a booming punt. And that's a tough one to handle. McCluster making the fair catch. It was twisting and turning. A 53-yard punt. So the ball back to Kansas City. They lead by 10.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Under Armour. I will. And by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Rich, I know you were not exactly sold on the moves made by Andy Reid at the start of the telecast. He has to be delirious the way things have gone.
Yeah, really. I mean, they've executed the plan just exactly as they kind of drew it up. And again, I had some concerns, Marv, because I think it's so important to head into the postseason with some confidence, with some momentum. They got thumped at home last week in a loss to Indianapolis. They have not played their best football in the last month and a half. They've lost 4 of the last 6 games after starting out red hot, winning the first 9. I just think that, I would have played the starters a little bit in the first half just to get them some reps, get them some confidence heading into the postseason. But you got to give this team some credit because the backups have come in and so far have done the job.
2nd down and 7. Daniel decides to keep it, and he has been so elusive, little pushing and shoving at the end of that play as Manti Te'o got involved. That's a 6-yard gain for Daniel, who's run well.
He has done a nice job avoiding the rush and keeping plays alive with his legs. Very fortunate that this ball doesn't get ripped out at the end, but he takes a nasty hit.
And in doing so, picked up the first down.
And they are flying around. You think this game isn't important to both these teams, but hey, San Diego, they've got a little over a quarter to try and get this thing turned around and earn a trip to the postseason.
And the Chief backup players trying to prove themselves as they look down the road. The handoff goes to Davis, who's been able to hold on to the football. Te'o and Melvin Ingram combined to make the stop. Just a 1-yard gain.
I think that group up front, that Kansas City offensive line, has really performed well. Marv, you think about it, the only starter that really started the game was Eric Fisher. Schwartz is in for him now. So you've got 5 new starters, including a rookie center, Eric Kush, and a cornerback in Chase Daniel, that's never started a game in his 5 seasons.
And the only other starter out there has been the fullback Anthony Sherman, who does not play on every down. Spin move by Gray, but he is wrapped up. Combination of Cam Thomas and Manti Te'o, leading to a loss of a yard. And this is different than when you do this in your 4th preseason game, playing all backups, because of the larger roster in preseason. In the regular season, it's 53 guys available, and after the inactives are announced, so if a backup goes down, starters have to play. He has not been in that situation, although, as you mentioned, Fisher went down briefly.
And not only that, but a lot of these players are core special teams players, Mark, so they're playing three times as many snaps as they would normally play in a game.
Kendall Ray's getting to the quarterback, Chase Daniel, but a flag is down. Very few penalties handed out.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 69 offense. Penalties declined. 4th down.
It is on Rakevius Watkins, the left guard.
Yeah, he just catches him right there, right in the face mask. I mean, they're not going to miss that one. The umpire calls that. Good stop by that San Diego defense. Give Phillip Rivers, the Chargers offense, another opportunity.
So Rays gets credit for the sack. And Keenan Allen is back for the punt on 4th and long. Colquitt from deep in his own end gets away the good kick. And Allen will look to return. And he is smothered. Nowhere to go. Good coverage by the Chiefs, led by James Michael Johnson off the 53-yard punt. A minute 14 left, 3rd quarter. Back in San Diego, Marv Albert with Rich Gannon. It has been a wild finish in the AFC. San Diego back in possession. And Rivers able to complete to Allen. Goes for 6. Sean Smith, the right corner, who has not played very much today, makes the tackle. Last week, Sean Smith had a rough outing.
Yeah, he's a physical corner, but he hasn't always played the ball well in the air. He's lacked some consistency at the corner position.
2nd down and 4. Ryan Matthews returns to the backfield, takes the flip, and has nowhere to go. This Kansas City defensive unit has done an excellent job. Josh Martin makes the tackle.
Yeah, it's not time to panic if you're San Diego, but I think you have to be a little bit more concerned trailing 10 to a team that is playing a lot of their backups. And I always say, if you let a team hang around long enough, bad things will happen. I think this is getting to be a critical time in the game for Phillip Rivers in this offense.
Well, 3rd quarter. He's running down. to 10-point lead for the Chiefs. Here's Rivers swinging it out. Woodhead has the first down and more. So that is the end of the third quarter. 7-yard pickup on that pass play. Kansas City holding on to the lead. They're up 24-14. We'll be back here after this message and a word from your local station. On to the fourth quarter at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. 10-point Kansas City lead. And first and 10 for Rivers at the 46 on an end around. This is Royal. Rivers with the block as Royal has the first down inside the 40-yard line. Beautifully executed play. Hussein Abdullah and Nico Johnson combined to make the tackle. It's good for 15.
A little bit of misdirection. Woodhead's just going to flip it to Eddie Royal. Look at Phillip Rivers. Look at the hustle anyway, trying to get out in front and get a block for Royal. And look at the Chiefs over pursue. They're all working to their left. Late getting back to Eddie Royal.
First down at the 39-yard line as Matthews takes a handoff and works his way to the 35-yard line. Update time. Let's go to JB and Shannon Sharp.
With Denver en route to clinching home field throughout, up 31-0 at the half. Peyton Manning did not start the second half. Right call, Shannon.
Yes. Rich, Marv, I don't know what you think, but I think this is the greatest statistical season by a quarterback in NFL history. Passing touchdowns in the season and passing yards in the season.
Back to Marv and Rich.
I would have to agree. I don't know how you feel about it, Richards. Here's a big hole for Matthews. And Matthews works his way inside the 15-yard line. Tripped up by Quentin Demps. He goes for 20.
Well, this is good to see if you're a Chargers fan. He has been a workhorse for San Diego the last 3 weeks. A little toss play to the edge. He has really run hard for San Diego, despite that banged-up left ankle.
103 yards on the ground for Matthews, including a 44-yard run. Matthews again, and this time he is stopped. Alan Bailey able to make the tackle. But I must say, Rich, no matter what the final outcome, a most impressive performance by the Chiefs, doing it with their backups, which tells you about their all-around depth, although the team, and we're talking about the starters now, have had their problems in recent weeks against top-level competition.
Well, they have, but I think Andy Reid did the right thing by telling these players earlier in the week that not only are they going to play, but many of them are going to start. He did a good job communicating that to them, and they've taken most of the reps, and it certainly has paid off.
2nd and 8 off the throw. It is broken up. Rivers trying to get it to Allen in the corner, who was well covered by Marcus Cooper, rookie out of Rutgers, making his second NFL start.
Well, they've just missed on a couple throws today. We saw a couple misses earlier to Eddie Royal, then Keenan Allen can't squeeze that one in, but a good adjustment there by the corner, Marcus Cooper. He gets that right hand in there and knocks it away.
Looks like Matthews came off limping once again. Get ready for the 9th play of this drive that started back at the 31-yard line. This typical of the San Diego Chargers as Rivers fires. It is caught by Gates, and a flag is down. So we'll hear from a referee, Bill Levy, who has not had a busy day. Very few penalties called to this point. Looks like Sean Smith is hurt. It's Sean Smith, the right corner, who is usually a starter, being checked out.
Pass, holding, number 35 defense. The 5-yard penalty will be accepted. Automatic first down.
It is called on Quentin Demps. First penalty of the day on Kansas City. Chiefs with a 10-point lead as we take a break. Well, Sean Smith walking over at the Kansas City sideline, and he is usually a starter at right corner. You see he went down, and Ron Parker, who had hurt his finger earlier, is back in there. Here's the handoff to Matthews on the 1st and goal. 2-yard gain for Ryan Matthews, who has had an excellent season. He's coming into today rushed for better than 1,100 yards, career high, 6 touchdowns, 24 catches, 7 touchdowns in all. And now James Michael Johnson is shaken up for Kansas City. And this is the reason that Andy Reid was concerned.
Rest of those,
as he looks
starters
to the playoffs.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today. Chase Freedom. Get your cash back. And by Verizon. Holiday savings on the gifts everyone wants.
On this final day of the regular season, week number 17, what a bizarre finish in both the AFC and the NFC. San Diego here needing a win to make it into the playoffs and trailing 24-14. Second down and goal for Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. Eddie Woodhead has come on for Chris Matthews, who limped off again. Here's Rivers firing. Touchdown! Eddie Royal with a beautiful pattern. 6-yard touchdown pass play.
Phillip Rivers is so accurate with the football. He is going to whip this thing out to the flat to Eddie Royal. I mean, the corner has no chance because of the pinpoint accuracy from Rivers. He does not hold the ball. He makes quick decisions and he gets the ball out quickly. The most accurate passers in the league this season, completing almost 70% of his throws.
Which is amazing. Nick Novak puts it through. 10 plays, the usual 10-play drive for the Chargers. 69 yards and 4.5 minutes, and the Chiefs' lead is down to 3. It is a packed house here in San Diego, better than 70,000 turning out. That has not been the case throughout the season, but it's come down to this one for the Chargers, and they have turned out at the cue. They are now within 3. Knile Davis is back for Kansas City, and he will run it out across the 15 and is run out of bounds at the 20-yard line by Richard Marshall. He goes for 25. All right, let's take a look at some of the earlier activity. Miami losing to the Jets, so the Dolphins eliminated from the playoffs. How about Cincinnati over the Ravens? Baltimore eliminated. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, who started out 0-4, they've won 6 of their last 8, staying alive in a 4-way tie due to tiebreakers, which would mean a loss by San Diego. The Steelers would get in as the number 6 seed. Knile Davis was turned back. If the Chargers win, they are in as number 6.
It's been an amazing Sunday in the NFL. Miami, 2 ugly losses, a shutout loss last week in Buffalo. And of course, they lose at home today to the Jets. Cincinnati remains undefeated at home, beating the Ravens. And of course, Pittsburgh, as you mentioned, Marv, they're sitting at home watching this one, hoping that the Chiefs can hold on.
They would not be feeling too good about the fact that Andy Reid went with the backups, but the backups have done a very good job, and right now in danger with San Diego coming on. A.J. Jenkins with a diving catch across the 25. He picks up 5.
Well, San Diego has really tightened the screws defensively here in the second half. Chiefs just a little over 20 yards of offense. They've not let Knile Davis run wild, and of course they've done a much better job containing Chase Daniel in the pocket.
Numbers on Daniel, 13 of 19, 111 yards and a touchdown. Third down play, 3rd and 5. Off the roll. Daniel with the pass. It is caught by Hemingway right at the marker. Junior Hemingway with a pretty grab for 6 and a first down.
Well, does a nice job getting his depth, getting at least to the first down marker. He does a nice job pushing off as well. There's a little return route on the boundary against Wright.
Junior Hemingway making his second NFL start. He's played in every game this year. A 7th round pick last year, spent all of last season on the Chiefs practice squad. Kyle Davis in the backfield, takes the handoff, nowhere to go. Stood up by Manti Te'o, loss of 3.
Well, he has really gotten better each week. I mean, he's just going to meet the back in the hole. Nice job ripping him and getting him on the ground, but he has really improved his overall game. He's been much better against the pass. A terrific job running sideline to sideline, making a lot of stops at or around the line of scrimmage.
And the coach is very pleased with his play. As you mentioned, the last few weeks he has come on. Cyrus Gray in the backfield for a 2nd and 12. Completes, but nothing there. Connecting with McCluster. Loss of 4.
Well, Gilchrist, he's in the slot. He does a nice job. He sniffs it right out. He's going to beat the receiver, Junior Hemingway, right across his face and able to make the stop in the backfield. They've done a nice job, the San Diego defense, playing the screen. The Chiefs have so many different screens. They've done a nice job attacking the screen before it hits them.
Once again, a 3rd down play for Daniel. 3rd and 16. 8.5 remaining, 4th quarter. Drop back by Daniel. Throws underneath. Caught, but short of the first down. Cyrus Gray makes the catch. 7-yard advance. Weddle and Addae are right there, and the punting unit will check in.
Well, Eric Weddle is the reason why this guy's a Pro Bowler. He is their most consistent performer. He's the most productive. He's the best tackler, the best blitzer, and he's very good in coverage when it comes to dealing with tight ends and backs.
Weddle coming up with that big interception last week, making the Pro Bowl for a 2nd time. Keenan Allen is back. 5th punt of the day for Colquitt. So San Diego gets it back. Here's Allen. Good coverage by the Chiefs as he's dropped at the 30. 45-yard punt, 7-yard return. The tackle by Jordan. Back in a moment.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by ExxonMobil. And by Subway. Hurry to Subway for Customer Appreciation Month this December. Subway. Eat fresh.
"69-degree day in San Diego, California. 7.5 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. Let's see what Rivers can do. Connects on the screen. Woodhead picks up 9 on the play. San Diego has been a very good come-from-behind team. They did it week 2 in Philly, week 4 against Dallas, and against these Kansas City Chiefs back in week 12.
Yes, so don't be fooled by the record. I mean, the other 7 losses, all but 1 have been one-score games.
Ryan Matthews returns to the backfield, running hard. Works his way across the 45, picks up 7. Marcus Cooper made the stop, a first down for the Chargers. So Matthews, who has played through that injured left ankle, has been back in the locker room. He's been on the sideline, and he's back now on the field. First down across the 45-yard line. 6:35 remaining in the 4th. Rivers tried to sidearm it. Dangerous pass, incomplete.
Well, he was wanting Ryan Matthews to run a little burst route to break out to his right. You see the back, little play action fake. Rivers he pulls his eyes right back inside to Ryan Matthews. The ball gets deflected by Jarrell Poe. Some miscommunication there between the back and the quarterback.
Brings up a 2nd down and 10 at the Charger 46-yard line. 3-point lead for the Chiefs. Rivers goes sideline. It is caught. Keenan Allen on the reception. An 8-yard pickup. He was met by Marcus Cooper.
Well, they're playing so much 2-deep man coverage. There's no reason why Cooper should allow the Chargers and Keenan Allen to complete this underneath. He can play a more of a trail technique, knowing that he's got safety help over the top.
It's a 3rd and 2. Allen with his 3rd catch now has 69 for the season. Woodhead in the backfield. Good protection for Rivers. And he completes. He has Allen down the sideline. Makes the cut to the 20, 15, 10. Down he goes inside the 10. 1st and goal for San Diego.
Again, this gets back to the accuracy of Philip Rivers. This is actually pretty good coverage, but he throws it in the only spot he possibly can to Keenan Allen. Dante Robinson actually had some pretty good coverage. If you wait, you're late against a quarterback like Philip Rivers.
38-yard pass play. Keenan Allen has gone over 1,000 yards receiving. Ryan Matthews in the backfield. 1st and goal. And the handoff goes to Matthews. Matthews stopped by Jay Howard. Went for 3. Chargers looking to take the lead. Danny Woodhead now comes back in. Just under 5 remaining in this 4th quarter. It is a 2nd and goal at the 5. A San Diego win, and they're in the number 6th seed, making the playoffs. Here's the play fake. Rivers. And he's bottled up.
Well, that looked awkward. I mean, we typically don't see that with Philip Rivers. I don't know if there was a blown assignment or just nowhere to go with the football. He's going to look to his left initially, and like they were looking for something quick, and it doesn't happen. You always want to be playing your best late in the year, and that's usually the case with Philip Rivers. You look at his numbers in December, and he has been terrific. 29 and 6 all time.
3rd and goal at the 4. Woodhead to the right of Rivers. Rivers looking. Couldn't find anyone. And decides to throw it away. Good coverage by the Chiefs. Rivers chased by Frank Zombo, the outside linebacker.
Well, the Chiefs do a really nice job here because what they do is they actually double Woodhead. He's going to run a little angle route. You see they're playing him in and out coverage, and that's really where Philip Rivers wanted to go with the football. Good adjustment there by the Chiefs defense.
22-yard attempt by Nick Novak, looking to tie the game. And he does. Chiefs and Chargers tied at 24, 3:21 remaining in the 4th. Tuesday, January 7th, Josh Holloway and Mark Helgenberger star in the new action drama Intelligence. Don't miss it, premiering Tuesday, January 7th after NCIS, only CBS. All right, once again, here's the scenario in terms of making it to the wild card. San Diego with a win is in. They make the playoffs. Pittsburgh is in with a loss by San Diego. And the game is tied at 24. Kyle Davis is back deep. Now lets it bounce out, and they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Kansas City Chiefs going with backups here this afternoon. This will be discussed continually during the course of the week as Andy Reid made his decision, the same decision that he had made in Philadelphia on 4 occasions, and it did work 3 out of the 4 times. They won their first playoff game after he went with substitutes.
And at the end of the day, Marv, it's about what's in the best interest of your football team. You can't worry about what happened between the Jets and the Dolphins, or the Baltimore game with Cincinnati, or even the Pittsburgh situation. You got to take care of your business, and the Chiefs have done that by sitting the starters and playing the backups.
All right, here's Daniel stepping up, and he throws. A diving catch is made just shy of the 35 by Dexter McCluster, who has had a terrific game. That's good for 14.
Yeah, you always want to start a drive like this with a completion. Good protection. Run a little sail route with Dexter McCluster. Good accurate throw by Chase Daniel. Here's something to keep in mind. If the Chiefs get near midfield, we could be talking about 4-down territory for Kansas City. Remember now, they've got nothing to lose. They are locked into that 5th seed. San Diego needs to do something here in a hurry.
First down at the 34. Fake handoff. Daniel goes underneath. And it's a first down. Caught by the tight end, Sean McGrath. First-year player out of Henderson State at Arkansas. And he comes up limping.
Really nice job by the quarterback going through his progressions. He worked 1-2, high-low to his left. He finds his tight end all the way coming across the field.
Brooks, this is the situation right at the start of the day. Chargers in with a win or a tie. Should this game end in a tie, Chargers would be 8-7-1, and the Steelers 8-8, eliminated with a loss. Steelers with the win over Cleveland, in with the San Diego loss. Miami and Baltimore both losing this afternoon, so they are out. Comes down to San Diego or Pittsburgh. Here's Daniel on a deep drop, and he fired. Oh, it's caught for the first down and more. 24-yard gain, and again it is Junior Hemingway making the catch.
Right, he's going to sell the post route, and then he works back to the corner, and Chase Daniel stops him in the hole between the corner and the safety. A very nice route by Hemingway.
We're coming up on 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, with this game tied at 24. So this one goes down in the final minutes. We'll be back to San Diego. This referring to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the only team to start 0-4 and make the playoffs. The 1992 San Diego Chargers. Pittsburgh in with a San Diego loss, and they began the year at 0-4. First down though for Kansas City. Kyle Davis.
The Chargers have to start burning some timeouts now and get the ball back. Kansas City already in field goal range.
This will be a 46-yarder for Ryan Succop. Missed from 47 last week against the Colts. Earlier hit from 46. His all-time long is 54.
This is a painful position to be in if you're Philip Rivers. There's not a lot you can do right now. You go through all your 2-minute thoughts in your head, but you're just hoping and praying that your defense can do something in this situation. Come up with a turnover, force fumble, anything. What you don't want to do is have Kansas City milk the clock, make another first down, and prevent Philip Rivers and that offense from even getting a chance to get back on the field.
Chiefs have a second down and 8. Davis, the running back, takes the handoff, looks to go wide. He does.
He stopped the clock.
Got out of bounds, so down to a minute 49 remaining.
And he's being told right now by the coaches on the sidelines, if you can, stay in bounds. Keep this clock running. You just saved the Chargers a timeout in that situation.
Chargers making changes. Third down and 3. Ryan Succop warming up. This will be a 42-yarder. They go to the Wildcat.
Yeah, Chase Daniels out of the game.
Cyrus Gray ready to accept the snap. Here it is, and he runs it. Cyrus Gray gets not to the 20, then pushed back. See where they spot it. Needed the 20 for a first down. And a timeout is taken by San Diego. So they're down to 1 timeout left. It is a first down, so Gray picked it up off the first Wildcat of the day.
Yeah, really nice job. They pull the guard Johnson around, and Gray's able to muscle up in there and get that first down.
Cyrus Gray, second-year man from Texas A&M and a 6th-round pick. Last year, primarily a special teams player. Actually needed the 21, and he got it. Once again, a look at the playoff picture. If San Diego wins, they're in. If they tie, they're in. Pittsburgh needs a loss by the Chargers, and they would make a dramatic turn starting at 0-4, winning 6 of 8, and they'd get in at 8-8.
Wow, it's an amazing story when you think about how this day started. But you look at what the Chiefs have been able to do and what they've been able to get it done throughout the course of this game with backups. And you look at the situation in the game with 1:39 and 1 timeout left. The Chiefs can run the ball here 3 times and have about 15 seconds left on the clock for a field goal.
The running back is Davis. Tried the middle. A yard on the play and a timeout is taken. Timeout Chargers. That's their final timeout.
Kansas City just going to run it twice here and run the clock all the way down. Kick this field goal on 4th down. Andy Reid talking Chase Daniel through all the situations. Make sure you tell the backs to keep 2 hands on the ball, stay on the field, and safe, conservative runs up inside are the way to go in this situation.
Rich, what a performance by Chase Daniel in his first NFL start. 19 of 25, 169 yards, showing so much poise. Threw a touchdown, no interceptions, ran extremely well. 6 carries, 57 yards.
He's really handled himself in the game plan well.
This would be a 38-yard field goal from this spot. Once again, Davis. Lost a couple.
He's done a nice job as well, Marv. You think about how they've run the football today with Davis. 25 carries, 87 yards, a couple touchdowns. It's tough when you don't have Jamal Charles, who's meant so much to this offense this year. Almost 1,300 rushing yards. Leads the team with 70 receptions.
Only 19 touchdowns.
Amazing.
Celebrated his 27th birthday this past Friday. 3rd down and 11. Davis remains in the backfield. They're lined up in the I along with the fullback. And Davis stopped by Donald Butler. No gain on the play. So they're running it down. See the clock. We're down to 40 seconds. 4th down coming up.
It'll be inside 10 seconds as we talked about, and call the timeout and kick the field goal. Make it very difficult for the Chargers. Get the ball back with less than 5 seconds. Terrific job by Andy Reid and his staff getting these young players ready really on both sides of the ball. And Mark, we talked about it. You know, so many of these players were forced to play special teams as well. So when you think about playing between 18 and 22 snaps a game in the kicking game, and yet a guy like Davis, some of these other players defensively, they played 65, 70 snaps of offense. You throw in another 20 plays of special teams. These guys are going to be exhausted on the plane ride home.
It has been a tremendous effort for Andy Reid's team. Ryan Suckup now will come on. This will be a 41-yard attempt and could be the game winner with 8 seconds to play.
41-yard.
Suckup on the season is 22 of 27. Hit from 46 earlier. Pittsburgh Steelers and their fans watching intensely. The kick by Suckup. No good. He missed from 41. The game remains tied at 24.
You can't make this stuff up. A good snap and a good hold and a solid kicker in Ryan Suckup. He just misses it right. Good snap, good hold. He just pushes it right. He can't believe it.
Thomas Gafford, the long snapper. Dustin Colquitt put it down. Mike McCoy. And the Chargers excited as we head to overtime.
Before the snap, timeout Kansas City. Their third and final charge timeout.
Timeout is taken by the Chiefs with 4 seconds remaining. And as we mentioned earlier, they go to overtime, and should there be a tie, San Diego ends up as the 6th seed because they would be 8-7-1, and Pittsburgh 8-8. All right, another look.
Well, we were just talking in the booth where they had preferred to have the ball in the middle of the field, but some kickers like it on the right hash if you're a right-footed kicker. And again, we talked about a good snap by Gafford, a good hold. And you could just see the excitement from Philip Rivers.
Chargers conclude regulation. Tied at 24. A wild day in the AFC. Actually, throughout the NFL.
Oh, you wouldn't have it any other way, would you? I mean, this, right? Could you imagine Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers as they sit home and watch this finish? They've got to be going crazy right now.
All right, we'll listen in on the coin flip. And, you know, it's one of those games where, obviously, you're a head coach, Andy Reid, you want to win the game. But he has to feel happy the way his guys have played.
This is probably the one thing he doesn't want, though, is overtime. Remember now, we talked about resting these players. He talked about getting out of here healthy. And now you've got a bunch of players and some starters who've had to play late here in the second half to stick around and play into overtime.
All right, captains. We will have an overtime period of up to 15 minutes. Both teams will have an opportunity to possess the ball unless the first team that gains possession scores a touchdown or there's a defensive score. If the game ends in a tie, it'll be recorded as a tie. Fourth quarter timing rules will be in effect. Each team is given 2 timeouts, and all replays will be initiated by the replay booth. Kansas City, you're the visitors. You'll call it tail and a head. What is your call? Heads is the call, and it's tails. You want to kick in that direction?
All right, Cyrus Gray made the call of heads. It'll be San Diego ball as we head to overtime at the Q in San Diego. As the retired police officer and fireman Bill Levy told us, there's one 15-minute quarter for overtime. Touchdown or safety on the first possession wins the game if the score is tied after each team's first possession. The next score will win the game. And 2 timeouts for each team. Ronnie Brown is back deep for San Diego. And remember, if this game ends up in a tie, San Diego is in the playoffs. Brown will stay right there. So they'll start out at the 20. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon. And it has been some day around the NFL.
It really has. And, you know, it's been some day for Philip Rivers. He's 17 of 27, 3 touchdowns. He's been very efficient. He's done a nice job finding the backs in the passing game.
Chargers start out at the 20. Ryan Matthews, who has been in and out of the lineup because of that ankle, is flanked to the left side. Empty backfield for Rivers. Rivers steps up, a bullet that is caught by Antonio Gates for 5. He's up at the 25-yard line. Nico Johnson, the inside linebacker, made the stop.
Well, Philip Rivers and Antonio Gates, it's like clockwork. And they just have a great feel and a great sense for each other in the passing game.
4th catch for Gates. Now Danny Woodhead has come on, takes the handoff, has a hole, has a first down, and a flag comes flying.
Holding, number 66, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
They will bring it back. Jeremy Clary, the right guard, is called on the hold.
Yeah, you see Clary just grab. I think he's okay. Right there, he's going to grab the inside shirt of the defender. Looked like Alan Bailey. Clary's actually played pretty well since making the switch from tackle to guard this year for the Chargers.
Second down and 15 for San Diego.
Good look at Dontari Poe. He's played really well. The Chiefs at the nose tackle position this year, well enough to make a Pro Bowl. Cheering on his teammates as they head in here in overtime.
Sitting it out, Jarrell Poe has no relation, has replaced him. Second and 15. We are in overtime. Rivers over the middle. He has Allen. Keenan Allen stopped by Dante Robinson, and Allen goes for 12.
Well, they're playing so much two-deep man coverage that you have to attack inside, and that's just what the Chiefs did there to Keenan Allen. Do a good job moving Keenan Allen around with their formations and personnel usage. He's not always outside.
Now he's flanked to the left for this 3rd and 2. Woodhead in the backfield. Movement by Gates, who lines up in the slot on the left. Rivers standing in and is incomplete. Good pressure by the Chiefs.
Boy, a big stop there by Kansas City. Just a 4-man rush, but the 4-man rush has forced Phillip Rivers to move. They're trying to get the ball again to Antonio Gates. We've seen a lot of bracket coverage against Gates where they're playing it in and out with 2 defenders.
The dangerous Dexter McCluster back for this punt. Remember, a touchdown or a safety on the first possession of overtime wins the game. Look out, a fake. Fake punt. Eric Weddle, look out. He's down though, that won't count. They bring it, oh, Weddle flings the ball. He thought he was in.
Well, I think they're going to call him down. They run the fake punt. They're going to call him down. This is going to be very, very close to the 30-yard line based on where the official's at. You can see the line judge, he came in, he had the initial spot.
The Chargers reached the line of game. First down.
It is a first down.
Well, they do the direct snap to Eric Weddle. You see him right here. Snap it to him. He just follows the big guys up inside, and he is being pushed forward there at the end to get that first down. A gutsy call by Mike McCoy.
A huge call as they maintain possession and have a first down at the 30. Woodhead takes the handoff. Stopped by Alan Bailey. Goes for 3. Eric Weddle, who was a free safety, Pro Bowler for the 2nd time of his career, taking that direct snap. He thought he'd got all the way. 2nd down and 7. Once again, it is Woodhead. Stopped by Akeem Jordan. Goes for 6, just short of a first down. It'll be a 3rd and 1.
And if you're Kansas City, the problem with a back like Danny Woodhead is he gets lost behind that big offensive line of the Chargers. He finds a crease and he'll dart right through it.
Now Ryan Matthews returns. Matthews and the fullback LaRon McClain are in there. 3rd down and 1. And San Diego in possession throughout the start of this overtime with 3.5 gone by. Big hole for Matthews, and has a first down out near midfield. Matthews for 10. Once again, the wild card rundown. San Diego with a win or a tie in overtime makes it to the 6th seed. Pittsburgh is in with a loss by the Chargers. Ryan Matthews is back, combining with the fullback, LaRon McClain. They have a first down, a huge play on that fake punt with Weddle collecting the first down. They line up in the I. Second back coming through is Matthews. Stopped by Jay Howard. Gain of 2.
Well, it's been a terrific day for Ryan Matthews. 22 carries, 129 yards, including a long of 44 in the first quarter. And he's done it with a very banged up and taped up left ankle. Didn't really do much in practice this week, but he's been a workhorse today for the Chargers.
Remember, a touchdown on the first possession wins the game. Here's Matthews with room. What a performance by Matthews. Stopped by Kendrick Lewis. He went for 13.
Well, they bring the safety, and Dempsey runs right by Matthews. It's like two ships passing in the night. And when you're going to bring pressure and you have heavy 8-man fronts, if one guy misses, if one guy is not in the right gap, there are huge creases for Ryan Matthews.
Beautiful block by the rookie DJ Fluker, who goes 6'5", 339 pounds. Their first-round draft pick. From this spot, it's a 53-yard field goal for Nick Novak. They have a first down. Matthews on a short advance, stopped by Frank Zumbo, the outside linebacker, perhaps a yard.
Well, San Diego wants to end this drive the right way. They want to score a touchdown and get out of here. And of course, you don't want to settle for a field goal and give Chase Daniel and that offense a chance to do their business. See
Nick Novak warming up. This would be 52 yards away for Novak. His career high, 53, a couple of years ago against Denver. And Danny Woodhead is back, second down and 9. Woodhead looks to make the turn. Kept going and is bounced out of bounds by Marcus Cooper. 3 on that run by Woodhead.
And one of the benefits that they have is they keep rotating those backs through there. It's Matthews, he needs a breather. They bring in Woodhead. And Woodhead can be just as effective running the football as he's been this year out of the backfield as a receiver.
All right, Rich, it's a third down and 6 as Novak continues to get ready.
Yeah, this is well within his range. He has been perfect from outside 40 this year.
He hit earlier from 22. This would be about a 49-yard attempt. Out of the gun. Rivers floats one. He has Woodhead. Has a first down.
Well, if you're the Chiefs, you're just asking a lot of these linebackers, Akeem Jordan. But watch the touch on this throw by Phillip Rivers. He just floats it out there to Woodhead, knowing that he's got the matchup that he wants, the running back on the linebacker.
And now the question is, when will Mike McCoy be comfortable with Novak and the distance? It's 41 yards right here.
Well, he's going to try and score a touchdown here. I mean, obviously, don't want to give the ball back to Kansas City here in overtime.
And end around, it is Roy.
Well, we saw a very similar play from the Chargers earlier in the game where they actually handed it to Woodhead, who then flipped it to the receiver. And again, in that situation, more from the quarterback to Eddie Royal.
This is the 14th play of the drive. It's a second down and 8.
We'll see him get to Novak now. As soon as Phillip Rivers sees the man-to-man coverage, he's going to spread out this Chiefs secondary. Here comes pressure.
Rivers over the middle for Woodhead.
That's one of the benefits of that no-back offense. You spread them out, you get 5 receivers out, and you force Kansas City to match up in man coverage.
6.5 remaining in overtime. A San Diego win or tie puts them in the number 6 slot. A San Diego loss, and Pittsburgh is in with a record of 8-8. 3rd down and 4. Eddie Royal stopped by Dante Robinson, lost a yard.
Well, they bring pressure again, but they do a nice job rallying to the quick screen. Really nice effort there by Dante Robinson, making that open field tackle, forcing San Diego to kick the field goal.
Well, this will be from 36 and would not mean a victory. You have to score touchdown or safety on the first possession. So Novak able to put it through. Now it comes down to defense on the part of San Diego. If they're able to hold Kansas City without a score, it is all over. 5.5 to go in overtime. But look at the AFC brackets. Kansas City locked into number 5 going up against Indianapolis. We are set for an update. Let's go to JB and Shannon Sharp.
This is why the Packers wanted Rodgers back there.
4th and 8. Chicago comes with a bomb blitz, 0 coverage. They lose contain. Aaron Rodgers spins out. The just activated Randall Cobb into the end zone. 2nd of the day, puts the Pack in front. 34-27. Chicago's driving.
10 seconds left in regulation in Chicago. Let's go back to Marv and Rich.
All right, thank you, JB. 5 minutes, 30 seconds left in OT with the Chargers leading 27-24. And now it comes down to San Diego being able to stop Kansas City. Quentin Depps is back for the kickoff. They feel he's more sure-handed than Niall Davis. They don't want to take any chances. First lead of the game for San Diego. The kick by Novak. And Depps will run it out. Depps puts the speed on and gets across the 25. Ryan Suckup had a chance right at the end of regulation.
That's why we're here, right? In overtime. I mean, a chance to finish it and just misses it right. Had a terrific year for the Chiefs, but boy, one he'd love to have back.
This crowd is reacting to the Charger defensive play. Now, a field goal would tie it and they'd continue to play.
Well, San Diego has played a lot better defensively here in the second half.
First down from the 26. Daniel fired one. It's caught by Richard Gordon. Back up tight end. That's good for 4. Manti Te'o on the tackle.
A great opportunity for Chase Daniel to put a drive together here with his teammates. A lot of backup players out in that huddle. The one thing Andy Reid has not done, he's not gone back to some starters who did in fact dress for this game.
They have been providing an enthusiastic rooting section. Niall Davis is in the backfield. Second down play. Daniel able to complete. Dexter McCluster gets it out of bounds. Time is also a factor. 4:34 remaining in overtime. Eric Weddle ran him out.
Well, Dexter McCluster has been very good in the slot this year for the Chiefs. 47 catches coming into today's game. Of course, a Pro Bowl punt returner, but he's got great speed and quickness when he gets the ball in the open field.
First down for the Chiefs.
Become a much better route runner in the slot.
off the roll. Daniel could not find anyone, just takes it out of bounds.
Chase Daniel.
It's run out by Marcus Gilchrist. It's the final. Green Bay has clinched the NFC North.
You think about Aaron Rodgers, they hadn't had his services for the better part of 9 weeks. It's good to get him back to go on the road and beat the division rival Chicago Bears.
Ryan Succop getting ready. 2nd and 8.
A little bit of a problem getting lined up here, come out of the huddle. This is not good as the play clock runs down. Oh, Andy Reid called a timeout.
Kansas City called timeout.
So they have
Their
one
first
timeout
of
remaining.
2.
Each team with 2 timeouts allowed in overtime. So they will talk things over. Tonight on CBS begins with a special edition of 60 Minutes going to Extremes, followed by the Kennedy Center Honors. Tonight, only CBS.
Well, Kansas City has had to use a number of timeouts on offense throughout the course of this game, Marv, because they've had some issues getting lined up. Remember now, you've got a lot of players, not just the quarterback that's making his first ever start, but 10 players today for the Chiefs on offense and defense that have never started games. They've got the opportunity to do so here today in San Diego, and there have been some communication issues coming out of the huddle, especially on offense.
But you have to think that in Pittsburgh they're going nuts because Kansas City is looking to get as close as possible for Succop to convert a field goal, and this could end up in a tie. There'll still be some time remaining on the clock, possibly. We're down to just under 4.5 remaining. Daniel fires one deep, and a flag is tossed. It was intended for A.J. Jenkins, covered by the left corner Richard Marshall.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, number 31 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yes, 31 is Richard Marshall, the 8-year man out of Fresno State.
Yeah, just look at the middle of your screen. He runs that post corner, and Marshall's going to grab him out of the break. The back judge right there to make the call.
That leads to a first down at the Charger 36-yard line. This would be a 54-yard attempt. Davis. And they gang tackle him. Donald Butler leads the way. That's a loss of 4.
Boy, Kendall Reyes really got out of his stance, and Davis had no chance. Boy, you just hate negative runs in this season, in this situation. The Chiefs haven't had a lot of them, just 21 all season, the fewest in the NFL. It's an area of their game that they've really cleaned up, but penetration right there made it difficult for Davis.
This will set it back to a second down and 15. Jenkins in motion. Daniel feeling pressure, gets it away. Pass intended for McCluster. Brings up a 3rd and 15.
Well, this is asking a lot of your tight end, and again, an extra hitch here by Chase Daniel makes it very difficult. Reggie Walker, he's going to beat the tight end around, and he doesn't give up on the play. He keeps coming right along with Kendall Reyes.
So there you see it. If San Diego can hold on, they will head to the playoffs. Daniel with a deep drop and throws. It is broken up. Intended for Jenkins. Broken up by Addae.
Addae does a really nice job. He is going to drive on this ball, and he beats A.J. Jenkins to the intersection. Good anticipation by the safety.
Well, they're going to go for it. Succott's long is 54. This would be a 59-yard attempt to tie it to extend the game. Timeout is called by Kansas City. That's their final timeout.
And, you know, you go back and you look at that previous play, Marv. Chase Daniel, I think he had some options underneath. He could have picked up half of it on third down and at least given Andy Reid and the staff the option of putting Succop out there to kick a field goal. But because he went for it all and took the shot downfield to A.J. Jenkins, they now find themselves in a 4th and 15 situation. That's all or nothing here for Kansas City and Chase Daniel. Now you got to ask yourself, if you're Andy Reid, what does San Diego do? Do they pressure in this situation? Probably not in the 4th and 15. Probably rush 3 or 4 and drop 7 or 8 into coverage. You're going to see a 3-man rush.
Here we go. 4th and 15. Off the fake, he's in trouble. He's going to run, he got a block, and now he's going to throw. He went over, apparently he was past the line of scrimmage anyway, and that will do it. The San Diego Chargers, wait a moment, a flag was thrown. It was picked up. We have not received the official word that the game is over. Well, the referee, Bill Levy, is leaving, so I guess the game is over. The flag concerning the fact that Daniel was past the line of scrimmage.
And that's why they're just going to pick up the flag. But I would love an explanation. When you throw the flag, I think you owe it to the fans, the folks at home, and certainly to us up here in the broadcast booth to explain what happened and why the flag was picked up.
Here's another look at it. Daniel in trouble. Well, try to run.
Yeah, they turned Reyes loose. Now you watch Chase Daniel. He is going to cross the line of scrimmage when he makes this attempt. That's what the flag was for in that situation.
So in unlikely fashion, with Miami and Baltimore losing earlier, San Diego makes it to the number 6 seed in the playoff. They've won 4 straight and 5 of their last 6. As you take another look at it.
Well, they turned the tight end Richard Gordon loose on Reyes. He was late out of his stance. He was late with his eyes, and that made things almost impossible for Chase Daniel.
And at 9-7, San Diego's matched their best record since back in 2010, while Kansas City finishes 11-5 as they look to their wild card matchup next week. And you know the Pittsburgh Steelers are not a happy group. After beating Cleveland, they had an opportunity, had San Diego lost, to make it to the number 6 seed with a record of 8-8.
But you got to give the Chargers some credit, Marv. A month ago, they were 5-7. Nobody gave them a chance. Mike McCoy, this football team, they won 4 straight. They finished 4-2 in the division, and now they find themselves in the postseason.
Thanks to producer Jim Rickoff, director Andy Goldberg, our statistician Russ Glynn, and spotter Mike Bazemore. Marv Albert with Rich Gannon. Overtime victory for San Diego tonight on CBS begins with a special edition of 60 Minutes. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.